friends. Thank you so much. Good morning. Christmas time is here. Happiness and cheer. Fun for all that children call their favorite time of year. Snowflakes in the air, carols everywhere, olden times and ancient rhymes of love and dreams to share. Sleigh bells in the air, beauty everywhere. Yuletide by the fireside, and joyful memories there. Christmas time is here. We'll be drawing near. Oh, that we could always see such spirit through the year. Christmas time is here, yeah? Ready to sing some Christmas songs, yeah. Hark the herald angels sing. Let's stand and sing. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful are ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Mighty lays his glory by, then bright men born on God, born to raise the songs of earth, born to give him second birth. Come, desire of nations, come, victim in us thy humble home. Lord, to love thyself impart, formed in each believing heart. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Yeah. What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping? When angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch keeping. This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. So bring him incense, gold, and myrrh, come present King to honor. The King of Kings, salvation brings, let loving hearts enthrone him. This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Man.
Well, good morning. Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Unity Church of Overland Park, whether you are with us here in the room or online. It's so good always to be with all of you today. This is a wonderful day of the opening to the Advent season. I'm Reverend Eileen Stulak. I'm the Associate Minister of Operations here at the ministry, and our Senior Minister, Reverend Jackie Fernandez, she has been on vacation this past week, and she'll be back in the offices on Tuesday, and then of course with us next Sunday. So we just send her all of our love and lots of prayers for the next couple of days of remaining vacation. Very well deserved. I have some announcements to share with you this morning. And the first, I would just want to say, I hope that everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, however you chose to spend it. And because of the gratitude that's still in my heart, it's really undergirding this next announcement I wanted to make. Because last week, Reverend Jackie shared with all of us that the financial results from the Fall Faith Gala and fundraiser we had a week ago Friday had been tabulated, and we were right around a gross number of $27,000. And gratitude did its work, because it got a little bit higher over this past week as additional funds continued to come in. And so right now we're still in the auditing process and confirming this, but the figure we are sitting at is $35,590. And so, my goodness, thank you to all of you and all who did anything to help make that gala the success that it was. And we'll continue to update you as everything does get finalized in the next couple of days. And so for our opening prayer this morning, I want to offer a little bit of a preface to it. We were contacted over the last couple of days, actually by Reverend Patricia Bass, one of our former senior ministers, who let us know that Brenda Brock, who is a longtime member of this community, maybe some of you know her. If not, she's been a longtime member of the church, and then maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I don't really know, she and her wife moved to Costa Rica to spend their retirement. And Brenda reached out to let us know that she has a very serious heart challenge at this time, and there is an urgent need for her to have triple bypass surgery. And so Luke Harbor, also a former member of our YOU here for a long time, he is leading the task of setting up a GoFundMe site. The link should arrive to us very shortly, and we will include it in our weekly e-news that will be sent out this coming Friday for any of you who might wish to offer some financial assistance to Brenda and to Kelly as they move through such a very serious time. And so we, on behalf of them, thank you in advance for your prayer support and, of course, any financial support that you might be able to offer. And so with that on our hearts, let's take a moment to spend some time in prayer. And we open our hearts by turning within to Spirit, asking it to fill us with its love, its compassion, its kindness, its generosity, all these qualities of God that we put into action for good. And one of those powers of God is also its healing energy. And so we call that energy forth now and send it forth to Brenda, to all those who may be desiring any healing of any kind in their lives this morning. For on this first day of Advent, the qualities of the season we celebrate are hope and faith. And what those two words mean is that there is always a door open for possibility of good to come into our lives. And so we hold open every door of possibility for Brenda, for each other, and for all those on this planet as we enter into this season of anticipation and expectation. And so with a breath in and out, we release this prayer. We let it fly on the wings of God. We stay unattached to any particular outcomes, trusting and knowing in faith that God is present in all circumstances. Spirit is greater than anything that could ever come before us in this life. And we trust that to go to work in and through us all. And for that and so much more, we are grateful. And so it is, we pray this day. Amen.
We are grateful. So let's together affirm our statement. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the source of all good. Deep breath. we're going to stand and sing Angels We Have Heard in Our Heart. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? Sing what may the tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Excelsis Deo. Come to Bethlehem and see, in whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee, Christ the Lord and King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
You can be seated. And with this being the opening to our Advent season, we will continue our tradition of lighting a candle representative of one of the divine qualities or attributes of spirit that are present within each of us. And on this first Sunday, we've invited one of our prayer chaplains, I think the longest serving prayer chaplain in this community, about 30 years or so that she's been 20 years? All right, 20, 30, it's a long time, and she's been a wonderful foundation to our prayer chaplain program for all those years, Ruth Ann Tannery, and she is going to share a reading on the qualities of hope and faith today, and then light our first Advent candle for the season. So, Ruth Ann.
Good morning, everyone. I invite you to enter this Advent season with hope, faith, and the wonder of a child. Fill your heart and mind with excitement as you consider the spiritual gifts that are yours for the asking. Establish your faith in the expectancy of good being poured out upon you. Consider all the ways you might radiate these good gifts out into the world. Make room in your life for the rebirth of the Christ in you. And rest assured, beloved ones, that you have truly received the most prized gift of all. On this day of Advent, I affirm the highest and best for all humanity with the hope and faith of a child.
Thank you, Ruth Ann. And as she takes her seat and our platform assistants begin making their way forward, I just wanted to note, I did not remember to do this earlier, a huge thanks to Terry Swope and James and Reverend Fred. They did a last-minute pivot last night when we got word that Danny Cox is under the weather and was not able to be with us today. And so the program was reworked a little bit, and everybody is just, again, as always, just stepping up when there is a need. And so thank you, guys, Terry especially. All right.
And thank you, Reverend Eileen. And Stacy, thank you very much. Enjoyed your harmony, Terry. And James and Fred, as always, thank you so much. Reverend Eileen will be speaking later, all things working together for good.
And we have a few announcements for you this morning. First, a reminder of some upcoming affinity group meetings. And the first one is next Saturday, December 3rd, is the men's group meeting. And we'll be meeting at the Lenexa Public Market at 8:30 for breakfast. And right after that, we'll go next door to the library. And I will lead a discussion based on a Tao Te Ching by the master Lao Tzu from ancient China about 2,600 years ago, and how that spiritual wisdom applies today. And second, our Yarn Blessing group will meet next Sunday, December 4th at 2 p.m. in the cafe area outside the sanctuary. This will be their monthly teaching session.
And we are joining with our neighbor, the Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church, which is often referred to as Smooch, to support the food pantry, which is FUUD pantry, this holiday season. There is a reverse Advent calendar available on the back, and it gives you and your family a fun way to gather the items that are greatly needed by those who are food insecure this time of year. The calendar has a reverse Advent. You give to it instead of having something that somebody opens or chooses. So you gather an item for each day of December and take it all to the food pantry. Copies of the calendar are available at the prayer table, and we hope everyone will consider supporting our neighbors, our neighbor church, and greater community. And just one note, if you are not able to take it to the Smooch at the church, then I'm sure if you call the church, someone will be able to pick that up for you and take it.
And we have a couple of opportunities this coming week to support the Good Faith Network. So first, this coming Tuesday, the 29th, we will be attending the Research and Action Kickoff meeting to learn how we can get involved in taking steps towards addressing the issues of ending homelessness, mental health care, and the lack of affordable housing in Johnson County. The session will be held at St. Mark's United Methodist Church on Santa Fe Drive in Mission, Kansas, and starts at 6 p.m. And then on Thursday morning at 10 a.m., the Good Faith Network will be holding a press conference and a prayer rally at the Project 1020 Homeless Shelter at 94th and Flum. This will be a call for county officials to meet with us to discuss a comprehensive plan to end homelessness. The media will be there, and everyone is encouraged to attend to lend your voices and prayer support. And now I believe Reverend Eileen has another announcement for us.
Send me my notes right there. Maybe I can reach them. I think I can reach them. Thank you. Yes, I wanted to take a moment to just give you an outline of the holiday service schedule that we have put together for this year, and so that you can mark your calendars to join us. and they're not on this copy of my notes. So, from memory, we are going to do, obviously, the 4 Sundays of Advent. On December the 11th, we're going to repeat our Healing Light service, the remembrance service that we do on Sunday evening, and that'll be at 7 p.m. on the 11th of December. Christmas Eve, our service will be held at 5 o'clock in the evening, and then Saturday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, we are going to do our Burning Bowl service for this year and call it our Sunday service so that we can all sleep in and not have to get up on January 1st to come in and do church. So we're going to do our Burning Bowl on Saturday, New Year's Eve. We will not have a Sunday service on January 1st. I think that's all of the services we know about. And now I need to have a scientific poll from you right now. Show of hands, no guilt, no nothing. We just want to get an idea of who may want to come to church on Sunday, Christmas Day. It would not be a service like we do, today. It would be much more intimate, informal. If you come, we'll have some breakfast foods for you. We'll probably sing some carols, share some Christmas stories, that sort of an atmosphere. We are not comfortable just making a decision to close the doors on Christmas Day. Sometimes those are the doors that people really need to be open. And so just give us an idea. Would you mind putting your hands up if you think you would come to a Christmas Day service? And I'll just get a real quick. Okay, we've got close to, maybe 10 people or so. Okay, and we'll keep asking over the next couple of weeks before we formalize a decision and let you know time and so forth. So thank you for that, and we do hope to see you during all of the holiday services this year.
And now, let's speak our vision statement together. A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening.
Thank you. Terry, come on up. Well, let's sing a song. This isn't what we had originally planned, but there, everybody's got everything updated. The right song, the right singer. Here we go.
It's a great tune from Aaron Neville. This is my wish, everybody in the world, to have the peace and happiness and all the love that they deserve. And every mother, every father, and every baby child. This is my Christmas prayer. May they never miss a meal, and to all the broken-hearted, may they find a way to heal, and all the homeless and the needy, that they might have a coat to wear. Oh, this is my Christmas prayer. Street, I'm sending out these hopes high above, yeah. That this old life just might someday be a better place for the human race. From Lafayette to London, Buenos Aires to Beijing, let's be kind to one another. Let that Yuletide spirit ring. We spread the message and the meaning of the season everywhere. This is my Christmas prayer. From my little house back on Candlelight Lane, I'm sending out hopes time, but if this old earth just might someday be a little bit better place for the human race. This is my wish. Maybe it's a lot to ask. I'm hoping that a miracle will finally come to pass. And all that I am saying is not just whispers in the air. No, no. This is my Christmas. This is my Christmas. This is my Christmas.
Advent is not a season for waiting to usher back in the old or get through with gritted teeth. It is an invitation to wonder about and actively work for transformation. What new creation are we invited to participate in birthing? Those words were offered by Kelly Ryan. She is the director of the Thriving Congregations Coordination Program at Duke Divinity. And it's with her words that I welcome you to this Advent season for this year. It is a season that we are inviting you to enter into and experience with great anticipation. Anticipation for Christmas and all that it can hold for us in the spiritual teachings and meanings that it has. Anticipation for a renewed birth of the Christ presence within each of us. Anticipation for new hope, new curiosity, new imagination, new creativity, new understanding, new life that will be nurtured and nourished and brought forth, born into this world today, for this world today, in and through all of us. This year we are going to remember and we will honor the historical Advent story. We will spend some time on the qualities of our Advent candles and what they represent. Today, as we shared earlier, faith and hope. Subsequent Sundays, we will talk about peace, love, and joy. And we're also going to incorporate part of Unity's teachings of the 12 powers. If you're not familiar with the 12 powers, let me share with you how they are summarized in this year's Unity Advent booklet. It offers Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore taught that every human being is hardwired with 12 inner powers, attributes of God that we can call forth and develop in ourselves. They equip us to handle any circumstance in our lives. They are the Christ within us, the divine energy we share as expressions of God. Now, these 12 divine qualities or attributes are faith, strength, wisdom, and love, power, imagination, understanding, and will, order, zeal, release, and life. Today, we're going to spend time with faith and hope and also order. And one thing to keep in mind about these 12 powers is that we view them as not only always being present in us and available, accessible to us, but also working together on our behalf. While each power does have its specific purpose and it has some specific attributes in itself, there is this complementary, interrelational activity of working together for our greater good amongst all 12 powers together. And so everyone should have received a copy of this year's Advent booklet as well as a 2023 calendar from Unity when you arrived. If you did not, please see an usher after the service. Go to one of the tables in the back after the service and you'll find copies for yourselves there. The beginning of this booklet, it offers a few articles for you. And then it moves us through with a daily reading for each day of Advent. And then there's a reading for Christmas Eve, a reading for Christmas Day, and then there's a final section of the book on the 12 days of Christmas. And for each of those 12 days, there's a daily reading focused on one of the 12 powers. Now, you'll see it whenever you pick up your book, but I'm going to say it now anyway as well, and that is that the last section, that 12 days of Christmas, that entire section was written by none other than our fabulous senior minister, Reverend Jackie. So make sure you get your copies, because we're going to begin right now. We're going to jump right into this Advent season, and we're going to do so by turning to that divine power of order. Now, maybe one way we could define that power is by just taking the title to my lesson for today. All things working together for good. Now, some of you may hear that, some of you may receive that and be thinking, really? Let's see about that. Let's see, there's food insecurity and homelessness. There's economic downturn. There's mass shootings and hate crimes and polarized politics. There are serious illnesses. There is a mental health crisis. There's unemployment. There's ended relationships. All things working together for good. Really, Reverend Eileen? Yes. And those words are not the first thing I want to hear, nor are they the first thing I choose to offer to anyone else in the presence of all of those challenges that I just listed and all the other ones that can be added to that list. You see, many years ago now, I was working with a woman, and anytime I would go to her with a troubling question or a concern, a challenge, a difficult life experience that I was trying to move through, the first words she offered to me every single time were, "God's in charge." And after hearing that for about the third or fourth time and feeling so unheard and invalidated for what I was experiencing, I stopped going to her. Now, she's a wonderful person. We had fabulous times together. I learned a lot from her. But there were certain times when I would seek out guidance and support and so forth from others. So I get it. I do. It is hard to affirm a divine order, to claim that a plan more vast than the human mind can comprehend or envision or understand is taking place, especially in the midst of or the immediate aftermath of tragedies or senseless, heinous acts committed by others, or simply seeing the disparity that can exist in the most basic of terms between one person and another, or one neighborhood and another, or one country and another. In writing about order in our Advent booklet, Reverend Jackie notes that in times like these, we may not want to claim divine order. She says it can sometimes feel almost abusive in nature to do so, or even trigger stuff within us that would cause us to start blaming ourselves for whatever it is that is happening in our own life or in the lives of those around us. So she suggests that if we kind of find ourselves in that place where a sense of hopelessness might start to begin creeping in, she says that's the time we pause. We hit that pause button and we turn to spiritual principle. We turn to principle and we remember that those principles, these divine powers, do equip us. They do empower us to handle any circumstance in our lives. Now, we can begin to do some of that handling if we consider for a moment what is taking place in our immediate reality through the context that was once put forth by an American theologian. His name is Reinhold Niebuhr. And he wrote, "Nothing which is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we must be saved by faith." So I'm going to repeat that. Nothing that is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we must be saved by faith. The saving power of faith. Before I go too much further into that, I do want to briefly touch on the quality of hope. Unity has a reference book. It's called The Revealing Word, in which Charles Fillmore, again, our co-founder, he compiled what I've always called it a mini dictionary of sorts. It offers definitions and brief metaphysical meanings around any number of words or phrases that you would find in Scripture and elsewhere as well. And this is what he offered about hope and faith. He wrote that hope is the expectation of good in the future. It is a quality of sense mind because it is subject to time. Faith is the certain knowledge that our good is ours right now. It is of God. It goes beyond space and time. To me, this is saying that hope is a really good quality to have because it leaves open a window of possibility for good in my life. And I also see it as being perhaps a stepping stone or maybe just an outright invitation to go step into that deeper knowing that whatever I desire is already available to me. It already exists in the mind of God. And it is for me to claim that, to embrace that, and then start doing what's mine to do to help bring it into my reality. Faith and hope, I don't see one personally as being any better than the other. I do see faith as being the quality that ignites movement, forward, upward movement in my life more quickly. And so I want to spend more time on it today. My favorite definition of faith so far is one that I found written by the poet Khalil Gibran, who said, faith is knowledge within the heart, beyond the reach of proof. Faith is knowledge within the heart, beyond the reach of proof. For many years in my life, I needed that proof. I needed details and clarity and certainty. And even when I was able to hope for something good in my life in the future, it wouldn't be long before I'd be sitting down trying to write a 10-step ironclad procedure on how to get there. I needed to have things planned out in their entirety, oftentimes before I'd even take one step forward. And thank God I have changed to some degree. And that change began so clearly, and it made such a powerful impact on my life when I began to live more from my heart, when I began listening more to what it had to say. And what it was saying to me over and over and over again for years that I finally decided to hear and to listen to was that I didn't always need to know. I didn't always need to understand everything about my life. That I didn't always need proof for everything before I could believe it in my heart. It was telling me that I should rely more on my power of faith and allow it to help me experience what I have now for many years referred to as comfort in the mystery. Comfort in the mystery. That gift of faith, for me, helped me navigate many things, but one that will always stick out in my mind is one of the most challenging experiences I can remember having as a mom. It's about 20 years ago, and I began to notice that one of my sons appeared to be in a difficult place. He had become very quiet. There was a sadness in his energy. And every time I would ask him, is everything okay? Is something wrong? His answer was, I'm fine. I'm fine. Now, as his mother, I knew he wasn't telling me the truth. And as a mom, the first thing I wanted to do was just fix whatever was wrong. If he would only tell me what was going on in his life, I could sit down and write one of those 10-step ironclad procedures for him to get through it. It tore at my heart to see him as he was. And my heart kept telling me, take comfort in this mystery. take comfort in this mystery. And then one evening he came over to my apartment, still had that same energy about him. And for a while he just went into another room and was playing computer games. And then he came out and we watched an entire football game in silence together. And then he told me he was getting hungry. And I told him that I was in a dire need for a grocery run, so maybe some frozen foods were available. And so we sat down to eat. And then after about 10 more minutes of that silence, he asked if he could talk to me. And over that gourmet meal of frozen fish sticks and applesauce, one of the best meals I've ever had, my son began to tell me what he had been trying to move through. And I listened for over an hour as he talked to me about the fears he had about saying anything to me, concerned that I might be disappointed in him or even be angry or upset with him. And that fear ran deeper as he had thought about approaching his father as well. And I listened to him tell me that in spite of those fears, in his heart, he had known he had to make some choices that he had decided to make for his life. And they were choices that part of me in that moment was so wishing that I had known, because I could have told him ahead of time how I would support him, how there would be no disappointment or anger in me, how there would be this upswell of pride in him. And I'm so grateful that my faith was stronger than my wishes. I'm so grateful that I just stayed with that mystery and held a prayerful space for him, that whatever it was that was going on in his life, it was going on in his life for his greater good. I'm so glad I didn't press him, because this was his journey to walk on his own. And when he then eventually invited me into it, I joined a son whose own faith had grown exponentially. A son who was embracing the wisdom and the knowledge of his own heart and doing it as an adult for the very first time. And all these years later, just yesterday, another hour-plus conversation with this son, he continues to live more from his heart, listen more to his heart than he does to his head. He tells me about his life, the good and the challenging, and he does it more easily, more freely, more quickly than ever before. And with every conversation we have, I hear more sprinklings of his faith showing up in his words. Faith is not always easy. It is a quality and an attribute that takes consistent practice. It needs to be cultivated and nurtured and nourished on a daily basis. Temple Hayes is a Unity minister. And she once offered in the 2017 edition of Unity's Advent booklet that one of the easiest ways that we can practice and strengthen our faith is to offer blessings to what we already have. To offer blessings every day for everyday things. She said, when we wake up in the morning, we can bless the morning and be grateful that we're alive. That we can bless our work and give thanks to Spirit for the ways in which it allows us to bring forth and share our creativity. We can bless our relationships, our family, and our friends, and thank Spirit for their presence in our lives. There is so much that we have that we can bless every single day. And Reverend Temple said that every time we bless anything, we acknowledge God's presence in everything, and our faith grows. And I believe that as our faith grows, so too do all of those other attributes, those divine powers of Spirit that Mr. Fillmore taught us were inherent in us, taught them to us in ways that we could be supported by them and put them to use in practical ways in our everyday lives. Everyday lives. That means the good days. It means the challenging days. It means all situations that we are called to handle in our lives. See, none of these divine powers take away the realities that happen. They don't take away the challenges that we face. And rarely, in my experience, have they immediately brought forth that clarity and understanding that was missing for me just a moment ago. However, what they do is move us just beyond the things that we can see and that we do understand. They move us beyond only our intellectual thoughts based on fact and logic and reason. They move us beyond any embedded biases or prejudices we might have. And it's in that forward and more expansive movement that we do begin to draw forth from within us new thoughts, new ideas about how to be present to, how to address, and how to move through whatever life brings. Mr. Fillmore called that resting place of those new thoughts, the higher ideas, he called that our eternal font of wisdom. Eternal font of wisdom. This is where we can not only anticipate, we can come to expect the blessings to be made known. We can come to expect the good to be seen in any and all circumstances in life. We know that all things work together for good. You may have thought of that a little bit earlier, that verse. It's in the 8th chapter of the book of Romans in the Bible. It may have come into your mind when I mentioned my talk title just a moment or so ago. But you may notice I did not include the first two words of Scripture in my talk title. I did not include "we know." It was a few weeks ago, maybe more, that I was listening to some folks tell me why they don't particularly like a song that is often heard many times over during this Christmas season. It is offered in many churches, Unity and otherwise. And it's that song, "Mary, Did You Know?" And it's a song that basically the lyrics are asking Mary if she knew all that Jesus would be. If she knew all of the good works and the miracles and the healings and all that he would do, did she know that this baby she was about to bring into this world would be the most absolute perfect expression of God in its entirety on this earth? And so when I asked why some of these folks weren't very fond of the song, almost in unison, what I heard was, she knew. She was Mary. Of course she knew. She knew. And I thank them for letting me know. And I've been sitting with that conversation off and on ever since. And where I've landed for myself, at least as of today, is yes, I do believe that Mary knew for herself. And she believed for the world. See, there's a big difference between what I know and what I believe. I've been telling you what I know for the past 20 minutes now. I know how all that I have offered today is real. I know that it is true. I know that it works. I know that it has transformed my lives multiple times over in multitudes of ways, and I can't prove it to anybody. You're either going to believe what I'm saying about my life or you won't, and that's okay. Because just as Mary's journey was hers, and my son's was his, and mine is mine, things of spirit, things of one's own heart, are things that only you can know for yourself. And you can also know that all of us, each one of us, has an open invitation to Spirit to say yes to this kind of transformational work, to say yes to transforming our lives even in the face of great uncertainties that exist either in our personal lives or everywhere around us. In the article that opened this lesson, Ms. Ryan said that we're all like Mary. She didn't say we are Mary. She said we're like Mary. She said Mary surrenders control. She welcomes the mysterious workings of God. She embraces God's plan for the world, even though she doesn't know how it's going to turn out. It's a risk, and she says yes to God. I know the power of that yes for me, for myself. And I fervently believe it for you and for this world. In the same way that I believe that all things do indeed work together for good. God bless you.
To settle into some meditation, but I just invite you to listen to Tchaikovsky. Let it be a part of your divinity, a part of your knowingness.
As we let the lightness of that music just take us more deeply than we already are into our hearts. We breathe in and we release. Today, I wait in faithful anticipation. For just ahead is a time of celebration, a celebration of the Christ being reborn, renewed in me. Faith is a very part of who I am. It is inherent in my nature. It is something I can call upon at any time, on any day, for anything. Faith is not something I hold back or keep in reserve. It's not something I seek to call upon only in times of challenge or concern. Faith is something I practice, something present in my everyday life, in my thoughts, in my prayers, in the way I choose to live my life. And so I take an intention of faith into a time of silence. I ask how to make it visible in all that I do. And now I listen in the silence. Faith is my compass. It leads me, it guides me, it keeps me on course and always moving forward, closer and closer to the birth and the fullest expression of the Christ presence within me. And so it is that I affirm I live daily in faith. I act daily from faith. And for this, I am grateful. And so it is. Amen. And so this is the time in our service where we pause to accept, to give and receive the financial offerings that you have this morning, to also acknowledge all of the time and the talent that is offered to this ministry as well by so many of all of you. And so whether you have your offering physically in your hands, wish to hold it in your hearts, join with me together as we bless it with the words to our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am joy-filled and grateful. Amen.
This next tune was written by Danny, and this might have been his first opportunity to sing it. So Danny, we're going to do it for you. We're going to see how it works. And we wish you the best of health. See you soon. It's the feeling of all feelings, comes round each December. It's the spirit of Christmas, and it springs from every heart. We get out this feeling on, we keep Christmas in our hearts, Christmas in our hearts. It's the feeling of all feelings, and it makes you believe that caring and sharing can unite so that a world is apart. Yes, we can have a feeling all year long. We keep Christmas in our heart, Christmas in our heart, Christmas in our heart, January, February, March, and in the spring, watch it bloom. April, May, and June, and there's nothing better than Christmas in July, unless it's August or September. October, November, December, it's all the feelings when you help somebody and it makes you feel so good. You want to do it again and again and again. We can have a feeling all year long if we keep Christmas in our heart. Christmas in our heart. Christmas in our hearts, January, February, March, and in the spring watch it bloom, with April, May, and June, and there's nothing better than Christmas in July, unless it's October, November, December, and when you do all the things make somebody feel you won't do it again and again. You can have this feeling all year long. You keep Christmas in your heart. Christmas in your heart. Christmas in your heart.
Thank you, Terry, and the UCOP Trio. You guys are so good. You know, we always want to give gratitude where gratitude is due. And so for this month, our volunteer recognition highlights our prayer chaplain team. These individuals hold a high watch for us and all who ask for prayer. We are grateful for their spiritual consciousness and the loving ways they hold the space of possibility for prayer for all of us. So if it's comfortable, we'd like to ask all members of our prayer chaplain team to stand so we can show them our appreciation. And before we close, a couple of reminders. Everyone is invited to the cafe right back in the back there after the service for refreshments. And with the holidays upon us, check out our Raise Right gift card table. The gift cards make wonderful gifts and stocking stuffers.
And please join with me now in speaking our mission statement together. Unity Church of Overland Park transforms lives and empowers people to make a difference in the world. So join us next week as we continue our Advent season. Reverend Jackie will be back with a lesson entitled Peace as a Practice, and she'll be joined by Kelly Hunt and her wonderful music. Now, let's welcome our children.
Light
Good morning, everyone. Today I had our usual Emily and Cameron with us, and we, of course, are starting to get into the Christmas holiday spirit, and we made snowflakes, and we use this as a way to talk about individualism and what makes us so different from each other, but also, if you step back and look at all of the snow, it looks like a bunch of little specks, but when you zoom in, no two snowflakes are alike, just like people. And so on these snowflakes, we filled it to the brim, all of them, with things that make us different from each other, and it's our own snowflake. So Emily's going to share some of hers.
I'm going to share what I like. I like dolls, my favorite YouTuber, AFNow, art, dogs, milk, the Oculus Quest, Cameron, my mom, Kara, snow, corgis, kinetic sand, frosting and icing, the color purple, Hammy and Olivia, a YouTuber, Josh, my dad, me, and YouTube.
Yeah. All right. You guys can go ahead and stand and join us for our closing song.
You guys ready to rock? Because we're going to rock this one. Christmas is the time to say I love you. Share the joys of laughter and good cheer. Christmas is the time to say I love you. And the feeling that will last all through the year. On the corner, carolers are singing. There's a touch of magic in the air. From grown up to minor, nothing could be finer. Times are hard, but no one seems to care. Christmas Eve and all the kids are watching. Santa guides his reindeer through the dark. From rooftop to chimney, from Harlem to Bimini, they will find a way into your heart, yeah. Christmas is the time to say I love you. Share the joys of laughter and good cheer. Ooh, Christmas is the time to say I love you. And a feeling that will last all through the year, yeah. Just outside the window, snow is falling. But here inside the shop we found a glow. A friendship and family and all that we can be. Memories that everyone should know. Well, the scene that lives behind us. Wishes for the year that's here to come. And it stands a reason that good friends in the season make you feel that life has just begun. Whoa, this is the time to say I love you. Share the joys of laughter and good cheer. Ooh, Christmas is the time to say I love you. Yes, it is. They'll find the feel all through the year, yeah. So when spirits grow lighter and hopes are shining brighter, then you know that Christmas time is here. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Merry Christmas!
And if you join with me now in speaking together the words to our prayer for protection together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a wonderful week, everyone.